iFILM, London. iFILM, London.
Okay, jumping now.
Not bad, is it? You expect an easy ride?
Alright. Nice, so beautiful. No jumping over the fence. Alright, thanks. I assume it's just for aesthetics. Can't get my hand through that. You normally provide tea and coffee at your press conferences.
David, everyone's this side for this.
It's the Berlin fence.
Any, what were you saying? Nothing. Okay.
Nothing like European comrade.
Where's Anna? Why haven't you brought Anna over? What's the point in having a PA to try that and bring a women's chair?
She'll be here at the show.
Talk to me on Facebook, he's lovely.
Yeah?
She's the only person who does.
You're doing on the other side. You trader.
It's the only places to see, man.
You're a trader.
Let's sit down.
Right, you camera guys will have chances, of course, for head-to-head photographs afterwards. But first of all, just welcome to Upton Park. The worst kept secret, I think, in British sport over the last day or two, but confirmation. David HAYE against DERECK CHISORA on July the 14th, licensed to thrill. It's going to happen, and we're hoping that there will be some 35,000 fight fans here for what's going to be, I think, by some distance, the biggest fight promotion in the UK this year. Sponsored by The Sun and Raynham Steel, and we thank them very much for their support. We're confident there's going to be a sellout crowd. The promotion is actually being put on by Box Nation in association with Team Sauerland and Haymaker. We had a great weekend for Box Nation with the Mayweather fight last weekend and a terrific show from Germany as well. And to be able to announce this a matter of days later shows just how well the channel is going, and we're confident that it will be a tremendous success. The fighters are being licensed, as you've probably read, and it is correct, they're being licensed by the Luxembourg Federation. And before I throw it open to everybody just to say the questions, speak to the questions as you wish, I should introduce who's actually here. On the far end of the table to my left, Chris Mayer, representing Sauerland Events. Alongside him, Francis Warren, who is manager of DERECK CHISORA, and then we've got Del Boy himself, and of course his manager, Frank Warren. On this side, on my far right, we've got Bruce Baker, who's chairman of the Professional Boxing Promoters Association, and his reason for being here is that he is representing the Luxembourg Federation, and he'll be able to explain to you exactly how all that works. Alongside him, of course, is David's trainer, Adam Booth, and the Haymaker himself, David HAYE. Now, afterwards, as I say, we're going to be having opportunities for one-on-one interviews for the television and radio media, and of course everything that the newspaper boys need to get. But for the time being now, we're going to throw the microphone open to the floor. So please, you've heard, and I'm sure there's a lot of opinions out there about what you might think about this. Ask the questions of the guys. There was the big showdown in Munich, which was, I think, the phony war. Now we're going to have a fight for real. So the microphones will be being passed around now. So please, can you hold up your hands if you want to ask a question, indicate your affiliation, and take it from there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Frank. Craig Slater, Sky Sports News. It is licensed to thrill, Frank, but there is some controversy about the licensing. I mean, you have been a pillar of British boxing. Is there any concern you're damaging the authority of another pillar, the Board of Control, by staging it in this way?
No, first of all, I want to make it very clear. DERECK CHISORA is not banned from boxing. His licence was withdrawn with an invitation to apply for a licence before the British Boxing Board of Control whenever he chose to do so. His appeal, he appealed against the ruling that the board made. That was supposed to be heard this month on the 14th of May. Unfortunately, the appeal has been put back till sometime in July, which will effectively mean that Derek has been out the ring, could be out the ring for at least 6 months. If he was a footballer, that would equate to being out of action for 24 matches. Suarez, for his racist comments, was banned for 8 matches. John Terry's still planned for his alleged misdemeanours, and in fact this weekend Floyd Mayweather fought in the States knowing that he was going to prison. The fight took place. It was the board's decision to do that. At the meeting it was said that he could apply not just to the board but anywhere to box, because that's his right to do so. Since his licence being withdrawn, he's lost half of the purse that he got for Klitschko in money being withheld by the WBC and legal fees, etc. I'm not being rude when I say this. He's a professional boxer. He has no qualifications, so he can. What's he supposed to do? Sign on? The appeal. He may win the appeal, and if he wins the appeal, then it's not a problem. But we haven't got the date for it. The fact of the matter is that Luxembourg, upon what the board said, he's not banned. We approached Luxembourg and a couple of other European bodies who all agreed to license him. Luxembourg are members of the EBU, the WBC, BA, WBO and IBF. They are have the same standing as the Board of Control. The only difference is I think they are backed by the government in Luxembourg rather than here. Obviously the thing that's being said is that this is in the UK, the fight outside the board's jurisdiction. Well, that was the board, obviously, when they made their ruling, must have been aware of that. The board, from their part, have promoted and been involved shows outside the UK, I think in Dubai, Egypt and Portugal in the past. If you go to Germany, where Salem Promotions, probably the biggest boxers in mainland Germany, promote, all their shows are promoted under the Austrian governing body. The Board of Control frequently license British boxers to appear on those shows, and frequently members of the British Boxing Board of Control's stewards from the British Boxing Board of Control go and officiate there. I think only this weekend the chairman from the Board of Control was officiating. You know, nothing is illegal here. I don't think it causes a problem. It was the Boxing Board of Control's decision. They thought about it very carefully before they made the decision, and at the end of the day, and as you say, I've been very supportive of the Boxing Board of Control when they were in desperate trouble with Michael Watson. I was the one who settled that action. I was the one who underwrote nearly £300,000 worth of cost for them to get them out of administration in settling the matter. I paid for all the MRIs for 2 years when they brought that in, 2 years for all boxers. I was the only person to do that, despite some of the bleating that's gone this weekend from, and I must say this, from promoters that are affiliated to Sky, because let's get it right, there are other politics involved here. The fact of the matter is, the fight is on. It's the biggest fight involving 2 British boxers this century, no doubt about that, and I'm not exaggerating. It's a fight that even hadn't, what had happened, some of the unsavoury scenes and some of the terrible things that happened in Germany had not taken place, I would love to have promoted. But the fact of the matter is, it's going to take place, and I don't want to overlook the fact that also the WBA's title, Povetkin, Azara Povetkin is defending his title against Hasim Rahman for the WBA title. Again, from my point of view, if Derek is to win this fight, that's a fight that we'd like him to be fighting the winner, and I don't feel that he should be stopped from earning his living. You know, how long is somebody supposed to pay for something, and why was the appeal? The appeal would have dealt with this very quickly. So, you know, we've done something that's quite within the rules of boxing. It's not the end, as I'm hearing, of British boxing. You know, you're all out here today. There'll be, I believe this will be a sellout. I believe it'll be a huge event. And it will take place. There's far, far worse things happening in sport and boxing than what is going on here. And there was a lot of misinformation that took place and was messages sent out immediately, knee-jerk reactions from what happened in Germany, where blame was apportioned to Derek and so forth. And I just feel that no police charges have been made against Derek, and at this stage also against David Haye. Derek has been with the police on 2 occasions. He's been back to Germany on 3 occasions, attended shows. That's where we are. So the fight's going on 14th of July here at West Ham. This place is going to be absolutely jumping, and it's going to be a great fight.
Okay. If I could ask David then, you were retired, David. I saw you recently out in Malaysia. It seemed you'd only come back for a Klitschko fight. Why then are you back for this fight?
No, I'm sure that's on everyone's mind. I always said I'd only come out of retirement for Vladimir or Vitaly Klitschko. And it was only up until very recently that the idea of fighting Derek came into my mind. As far as I was concerned, me and Derek settled our differences, in Germany. He said he was going to come down and give me 2 slaps and break my jaw. He got in my face and ended up on the floor. So as far as I was concerned, that was sorted out then. But slowly but surely, people keep coming up to me in the street. When you're going to fight Derek? When you're going to fight? I'm like, I've already fought him. Why do you want me to fight him again? You got to do it in a ring. Do it officially this time. I was okay. I was like, I'm not interested. I want to fight Vladimir or Vitaly. That's the only fight I want. But people just kept coming up to me. People who weren't boxing fans, regular people on the street saying, Derek, he's an idiot. You've got to knock him out. You have to do it. So I thought, okay then, why not? And then obviously Frank Warren made contact and put it to us that we could have a big showdown in England in a football stadium. I thought, okay then. In my mind I was always anticipating fighting Vitaly Klitschko in the summer. So in my mind I was gearing up to a fight in the summer anyway. That doesn't look like it's happening for a while. So in my mind, why not? It's a fight against someone who doesn't do anything, in my opinion, that I haven't seen before. He's not 7'2", he's not a southpaw. He's not coming off an amazing winning streak. It seems like it's a no-brainer, and I don't think there's too many people that, if they were in my position, wouldn't go through with this fight. And I'm looking forward to it because the guy said so many different things about me, that he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and obviously he didn't learn his lesson in Germany. So I've got to do it officially in front of everybody, without cameras around, no tripods, no bottles. We can do it the old-fashioned way in a ring, and I can expose him officially, and it can be on my record for doing that as well, not on my police record.
No.
Tim Hague, BBC Sport. David, I'd like to ask you what you think of Derek, and Derek, I'd like to ask you what you think of David.
I probably think the same as what everybody else thinks of Derek. He's an.
I don't like him.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
Simple words. I don't like him.
He took the words out of my mouth. That's exactly what everybody thinks.
First of all, David, you need to get style. Kane Rose will play that when Ja Rule had a hit record on Kiss FM. So cut the Kane Rose out. And you know what? Talk is cheap now anyway. That was a lucky shot. I'll give that one to you. Right now you're winning 1-0. But come in a couple of weeks' time, I'm going to whoop your ass. And you know that already.
Yeah, you talk a lot. You talk a hell of a lot. The best thing that's ever come out your mouth is my fist.
The problem with me, David, is
the bottle.
The problem with me, David, is I talk. I know how to fight. I don't blame you on anything.
Where the wins at?
Hold on.
Where's the winning streak?
It don't matter, David. You know what?
It does in boxing. Winning matters.
It don't matter. I'm happy you signed the contract. Now we just have to train and let's fight each other. That's it. Talk is cheap now.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I don't like you already.
John Dillon, Daily Express. David, your last 2 fights had massive build-ups and then were viewed largely by the public as disappointments. So why should it be any different this time?
I think there's one big reason. my last two opponents were very defensive fighters, and I normally look better against pressure fighters, people who come forward, people who give me something to punch at, and that's exactly what this guy does. If I could build a perfect opponent for myself, someone who makes me look $1 million, it'll be someone around 6'1", 6'2", someone a little plodder, someone who doesn't punch that hard. He can tag, but he can't punch that. Not a one-punch knockout specialist. Someone who doesn't do anything spectacular in any department, but is just good and durable and can take a punch. And that's exactly him. He is my ideal opponent, and I don't have to do anything technically for this fight. I don't have to train, work on anything in particular. I just got to be in shape, and I'm always in shape anyway. So when I'm saying this is going to be an exhibition, I'm going to break this guy down. I'm so glad that he's got a good chin, because if he didn't, he'd get blasted out in the first round. But because he's got a decent chin, he can take a whack. He's going to get a nice, slow, concussive beating. And I think the fans.
I think you all heard it all before. David gives you all the big talk. Get in the ring. He don't deliver. It's all big talk anyway. So you know what, David, you keep talking. The more you keep talking, the more you get me upset. And the more I get upset, the more I'll jump over this thing right now.
And get knocked out again, eh? Yeah. We played that game before, and you lost. Can't you remember?
Yeah.
You lost. You was on the floor.
Hey, listen.
You were unconscious for about 4 or 5 seconds.
Can I tell you a little
your
story
weight drop to the floor. You get up staggering around. He glassed me. What was that?
I saw David Haye a couple of weeks ago in London, and guess what he picked up? He picked up a knife. And I told him put a knife.
I was eating a steak.
Yeah, you were eating a steak. Yeah?
Yes, I was eating a steak. Didn't you see that?
There was nothing on the table. Was there anything on the table? Exactly, because he knows what kind of man I am.
What type of knife? Was it a knife that was carrying on me, was it?
I'm about, man. If you want to have it, we can have it now.
No, you're not really.
We've done this game already. You can't do it on the street. So let's do it in a boxing ring. When there's some rules, you can put some gloves on. You can rub up some Vaseline on your face. You can take a real beating. Because I didn't get to finish you off like I wanted to, because all your people jumped all over me.
Sorry.
Who happened to get for a slap as well. So
you're gonna talk rubbish because the man is not here, but you keep talking, it's fine.
Oh yeah, he wants to fight me as well. I heard your coach, your delusional coach, he wants to fight me as well. This is the guy who's guiding you, a guy
David, you all talk, man. Don't worry, the talk is done, it's fine. I'm not going to say anything, David.
Your coach is saying he wants to fight me. He did think I want to fight David Haye, I'm going to kick his ass.
Let's have some more questions.
Simon Viger from Channel 5.
That's his team.
Frank, you're obviously confident you're going to fill this place, so how much is this fight worth to the winner?
A lot of money. I think it's not just about money. It's a bit more about this being the fight happening under controlled regulations, under the rules of boxing in the ring, and the best man will win on the night. And I think I'm sitting next to the best man who's going to win on the night. The unfortunate, terrible things that happen in Germany overshadows Derek's performance against Vitaly Klitschko. He had a fabulous fight. He was very if he had a bit more experience, he may have even made an upset on the night. Gave Klitschko his hardest fight since he fought Lennox Lewis, and in my opinion, I think he's going to really give David a lot of problems and a lot to think about. Styles make fights, and as David said, he said something absolutely true there. He's got somebody who's going to come forward. That's what Derek does. He does not take his foot off the gas. Go and ask Helenius that terrible decision in Finland that he got for the European title against a guy who's now ranked #1 in the world. He won that fight. That was unfortunate, but the bottom line is he will come to fight, and we're going to find out on the night, on the 14th of July, here at West Ham, who is the best heavyweight in Britain.
Frank, Tim Franks from BBC News. You've marshalled all your arguments and you say this is the biggest British fight of the century. But given that you also say that they were disgraceful scenes in Munich, given that, as far as I'm aware, this is the first time that a foreign licensed bout has happened in this country, does not a part of you think that actually this owes a bit more to theatre and a bit less to sport?
Well, it's certainly not theatre, it's a fight, and that's regarding, I think anybody who knows boxing, if you look at the various websites and media sites, all they're talking about is this fight. You know, we can all sit here and decide what we're doing, whether we feel right about what we're doing or not. You know, the BBC showed the Formula One from Bahrain, 50 people dead, somebody died on the day of the show. They're going to be in Ukraine covering the Euros. You know, that sits well with them. This fight sits well with me. I've not got a problem.
Frank, Adam, clearly there's a lot of animosity between the two men. How do you propose to prevent what happened in Munich happening again?
Well, I think we started today with this fence here and the amount of security that are present. There was no security in Munich. You know, that was one of the terrible things about Munich. There was no security there. And the guy who ran the security company is the chairman of the German Boxing Board of Control. There was inadequate security there. But that's done. That's been, you know, we've done that to death. I've made it very clear my position from day one as far as Derek Chisora is concerned. Unacceptable. A couple of things that happened before the fight, after the fight. I made it very clear. I don't think he went to have a fight, but what happened. And he's paid the price. He's paid a big price financially through not being able to fight. Now this fight's taking place. The Board of Control, and I want to emphasise this again, the Board of Control made a decision not to ban Derek Chisora. And they made that for a reason.
Frank, Gareth A. Davis, Daily Telegraph. The kind of legality of what's going on notwithstanding, do you not feel that there'll be a widespread perception that you're undermining the authority of the boxing board to govern the sport in this country by going ahead and doing this?
No, I don't. I don't think so. No more than probably the German Commission in Germany feel that the board are underestimating their governing their jurisdiction in Germany when they go and send officials out to cover shows for the Austrian Commission and licensed boxers to go there. You know, the Boxing Board of Control had an opportunity to have the appeal. It was their choice, not ours, to push it back. And as I said very clearly, I also have a duty to Derek Chisora. I'm his manager. He is allowed to box, and I would be in breach of my agreement with him if I didn't arrange a fight for him. You know, this fight's going on there. All the boxers, it's going to be correctly medically supervised. It'll be exactly the same as if it were a British Boxing Board of Control fight. So I don't see what the problem is. You know, David Haye, he can be licensed anywhere in the world. He's not banned from boxing. What's the problem?
James and Kirby of BoxingFutures.com. David, it's widely reported the large sums you made from your last two fights on pay-per-view on Sky. How's this deal working for you? Is it a set fee or is there a percentage on subscriptions?
I'm happy with what I'm getting paid. I can't go into details of what that exactly is, but I'm happy because I get the opportunity to shut this guy up. You know, I tried to do it in Germany. That obviously didn't work. I didn't hit him hard enough, maybe didn't hit him enough. His people went away. So July 14th, I'll be able to get my money's worth out of him.
Can I ask you a question, Gareth? Do you want to see this fight? Yeah. Well, then so you want to see it. Why shouldn't anybody else want to see it? Do you want to see it? Do you guys want to see the fight? I mean, maybe some of you don't. I want to see it. So what on earth why not? It's licensed, it's legal.
But Frank, why didn't you push the board to bring the hearing forwards?
I pushed the board to do it. They've told us that they cannot hear it till July. It's not their decision, it's ours. We're all ready. We sent all the bundles out, all his defence bundles out to all the parties concerned, and we were told last week it's been pushed back. So, you know, we're in between the Euros and the Olympics. That means he's going to be out of action to at least October. And, you know, the guy's got to get a living.
Are the two guys already licensed, therefore, or by the Luxembourg board? So if the British Boxing Board came forward and banned Derek tomorrow, for example...
Well, they can't ban him. How can they ban him? They've made a decision which is subject to an appeal. They had an opportunity, they had a hearing, and it was made very clear at the hearing he is not banned from boxing, only that they will not license him. And that was their decision. Joel
Campbell.
I can't hear.
Quite on.
Alan Hubbard from The Independent on Sunday. Frank, two of your fellow promoters, Barry Hearn and Frank Maloney, say that you staging this fight will kill boxing. It'll be end of the sport in boxing as we know it. What's your response to that?
Well, two things. Did Barry Hearn, when he formed the Breakaway Snooker Organisation or the Breakaway Darts Organisation against those two governing bodies, did it kill those sports? I don't think so. I think even the BDO, I think they went to court and there was said the players should have a freedom of choice as to which open events they wish to play in. Luxembourg is part of the EU. It's a freedom of movement. The Border Control are members of the EBU, as are Luxembourg, and they recognise each other as governing bodies. And just a point, Barry Hearn, quite a few years ago, won a purse bid for Julian Jackson to defend his title against Harold Graham, and Julian Jackson was found to be blind in one eye when he had his medicals in this country. So Barry took the fight to Spain, and he felt it was in the interest of boxing for a guy who was blind in one eye to fight in Spain. So we know what Buzzing Baz has to say, and he's got his agenda, and his agenda is if I can't have it, let's rubbish it.
David
Maloney. Frank Maloney, he's a guy when he worked for me and sold a story to the newspaper up in Scotland, The Sun, saying that Scott Harrison was drunk at a press conference who he managed and never even told me about it. So I don't need to tell them about boxing. I've supported the Border Control. I've worked very hard with the Border Control and continue to. I'm not against the boxing Border Control. Far from it. I'm still supporting them. What I've said, if they want to bring forward the hearing, or if they choose that Derek served enough time now as far as they're concerned and license him, terrific. It'd be, as well as being under Luxembourg jurisdiction, it'd be under the British Boxing Border Control jurisdiction.
Joe Campbell, Global Sporting Colour. Were you not guilty of raining on Derek's parade in Germany?
Pardon?
Were you not guilty of raining on his parade? Kind of
raining on his lost parade. No, I went into.
It was his moment. That's.
He had. I sat back in the press conference, allowed him to have his moment, not to rain on his parade. Waited until him and his coach had finished and Frank Warren finished what they were saying, and then addressed Vitaly Klitschko and his promoter, because I had some beef with them. Chisora piped up telling me he's going to give me 2 slaps, and then he kind of rained on my parade, to be honest, because I was trying to have a conversation with Vitaly Klitschko, asking whether he wanted to do the fight that he'd agreed to, and he pipes up, he gets down, takes his jacket off, all his boys behind him, he gets put on his arse. So he kind of rained on my parade that day. But it's all worked out well for him. Here he is now getting a payday. If he wouldn't have done that, who knows where he'd be now.
As long as it
McDonald's
don't rain
probably.
on the 14th.
Frank, can you hear me?
You sound like Norman Carter.
Look, going back to perception, without being squeamish, there are a lot of people out there who would like to see boxing banned. That's one of the wider perceptions. We've got all this security here. We've got talk about jumping across the fence. There's been mention of a knife being drawn somewhere. What do you think that means for the perception of boxing for the wider public?
I was having a steak.
I think where you're coming from there, John, I hear what you're saying. I could look at various sports and see some of the things that happen in sport. What is the perception of people who feel that drug cheats should be allowed to participate in sport? What do you feel about footballers who get involved in racist situations on the pitch, continuing to play football? What do you feel when you see like the football match a couple of weeks ago where the two teams were knocking 7 colours out of each other? What do you feel about that? Unfortunately, stupid things are said. Stupid things happen. People do stupid things. But as I said to you, we've got security here. These guys will settle their differences in the ring on the 14th. And what will the perception be? We'll find out on the night whether this place is sold out and whether people subscribe to the match, subscribe to watch the fight. As I say, whatever differences they've got, they'll be settled in the ring. And I'm sure, like all of these fights, after the fight, and they're going to say no, I'm sure that'll be the end of it between them.
I hope so.
Well, or maybe there'll be a return. Who knows?
Probably want to do it in MMA rules next time.
Question for Derek. Derek, obviously, the altercation with David has led to this event taking place. Do you feel remorse over what happened with the Klitschko brothers, the slapping and the spitting water in the face of the other brother in Munich in February?
You already apologised for that.
Did I apologise?
Yes, you did. He's already apologised for that. Did I? You know you did. Go on, answer the question.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Things happen. So, I apologise for slapping the heavyweight champion. I apologise for spitting on the heavyweight champion. It's done. Yeah.
Let me ask the question. Did anyone ask them to apologise after all the fracas happened when they were standing at the back of the hall clapping? Did you seen that video, haven't you? Have you seen it? Vitaly Klitschko standing at the back, standing at the hall, clapping and then shaking David's hand. I didn't see any apologies from them. And I'll tell you what else, I didn't see any apologies from the German Commission for not having any security there. I was doing part-time security on the night and didn't get paid for it. You know, we've got a fight here. We're going to announce some more fights next week. This is a big show. This is exciting, an exciting fight. And this place, as I say, is going to be rocking. This is going to be sold out. And you know, any of you guys, you've all said yourself, or most of you have said you'd like to see the fight. Go and have a look at the forums and see what the amount of people that do want to see this fight against not seeing it. It is absolutely 99% who want to see the fight. And the Sun newspaper is sponsoring it.
I think it's probably worth saying that last year, when we had the big fight over in Hamburg, it got a pay-per-view audience, which you may or may not be aware of something approaching 1 million with Sky. And I don't know about you, but it's my idea, or my perception, that there's at least as much interest in the fight between David and with Derek as there was then.
The buys were over 1 million. There was over 1 million buys for that fight, but then for each buy, a pub can have maybe 400 people watching it. Yeah. So you can probably multiply that million by 10, 14, something like that. Yeah. That's how many people. So the call for banning boxing, there's no evidence for that because a lot of people still pay to watch boxing. And I've never seen such a disproportionate reaction to two fighters having a fight. This time it just happened to be outside the ring. So, in hindsight, looking at it now, where should two fighters resolve their differences? In a ring. And that's what's going to happen on July the 14th. But effectively, we were talking about a bit of word slinging, a couple of shots, a bit of grappling on the floor, and that was it. They're two fighters. That's what fighters do. They shouldn't have done it outside the ring, and they both admitted that, and now they've arranged to do it in the ring. And yet, for some reason, people are pretending that they don't see the logic in that, but just pretending it because it makes a bit of a story. But if anybody doesn't want to watch a fight that's here, if you stand up and leave now, I guarantee no one will leave because people want to watch it. You've got two world-class heavyweights, both from Britain, who want to fight each other, and their styles are going to gel because they're going to be in range, wanting to let their hands go, not using their 6'7" advantage to jump back every time someone clenches their fists. Derek comes to fight, David comes to bang. You are going to get an exciting fight. And once we realise that they're two professional fighters who want to have a fight and should do in a ring, we can get over this nonsense that's happened over the last God knows how many months because it's been totally disproportionate. And me personally, I'm offended by the disproportionate nonsense that's been written about two guys having a bit of a dust-up.
David, Declan Morrington, City Aim. It sounds as though the Klitschko fight's the one on the bigger picture for you. Do you think this fight's going to, bring that closer in any way?
I don't think it would bring me any further away from it, to be honest. Whether it brings me closer or not, I don't know. But I'm not going to get the Klitschko fight in the summer. So if I haven't got it in the summer, why not keep busy? By the summer, I'd have been about a year. I've been out of the ring. I think that's a long enough time to be out of the ring. Ideally, if I'm looking at fighting Vitaly or Vladimir again, having a little putting the gloves on, getting out there in front of a crowd and going through the motions wouldn't be a bad thing to do before going in there against one of these big guys. Although he's nothing like them in style and every single thing about him, to be honest, it's still just going through the motions, going through the warm-up in the change room, going out there, putting him on his back, and then have a nice after party and taking it from there.
If you recall, Klitschko's actually said themselves, these two guys get it on, they'll fight the winner.
Bert Bunt
said that. Bert Bunt said that. So you can look at this
verbal contract.
And not worth the paper they're written on. But if that's the case, that'll be fantastic. As you look at it as being an eliminator.
Hi, David. It's Scott from FightHype.com. Just a question. Obviously, you've been inactive since last July. Have you stepped into the boxing gym and prepared yourself for? Obviously, there's a rumoured Klitschko bout scheduled to happen. Have you been in the boxing gym, sharpening up, or did you?
No, I haven't been sharpening up. I'm a healthy person. I eat relatively healthy. I haven't got any addictions, so I'm always in relative shape. And for this fight, it's quite a treat to actually fight someone who's tailor-made for me. When I'm even fighting Audley Harrison, I had to find some big. I had to fight Tony Thompson and some real big southpaw. So I had to work out getting around that southpaw, adjusting but this guy's, as I said, tailor-made. He does exactly. He'll walk right into range, trying to bob and weave and trying to throw body shots and jab into my chest, do all the things that I like my opponents to do. So I'm actually going to be able to enjoy training. Sparring against big southpaws is not that much fun. Or sparring guys who are 7 foot ain't that fun. But fighting someone who's got shorter arms than myself, whose head's huge, and just takes punches in the face, it couldn't be any better. I'm actually I'm actually looking forward to going through the train. I start training camp in June. A nice 6-week blitz. I won't have to work on anything too technical. It's just get myself in physically fantastic condition, like I'm always in, and go through the motions. I'm looking forward to it.
Sorry. Can't hear you, Mike.
Frank, Mike Walters, Daily Mirror.
Hey, Mike.
The bill is entitled Licence to Thrill. Is that rubbing the British Boxing Board of Control's noses in a bit?
No, it's not rubbing in. It's the fact they're licensed, and it's going to be a thriller. And all I wish I wouldn't say we'd like to be at Aston Villa, because we could have been the thriller at the Villa, but we're at West Ham, so we're going to have a real battle here, and it's going to be a fight that all the fans, as I say, want to see. It's not rubbing. This is a licensed event. The reason we mention licensed, because I've read a lot of stuff saying this is an unlicensed fight. It's not an unlicensed fight. There are a lot of unlicensed shows that go on around this country on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, as far as the Board of Control concerned. This is a licensed and bona fide event.
There's lots of other governing bodies that license fights anyway.
Yeah.
There's other boxing governing bodies that license their fights. The Board of Control just happened to be one in England.
Are there any other questions?
Right, well, in that case, we're going to start off by having television interviews with David at this side. So if and radio, of course. So if we could go to that side, and but before that, we'll have the head-to-head. So hang about, and then the written media will be over there. So now for the snappers, we've got the old head-to-fence shots. So I'll go that way.
iFILM, London. iFILM, London.